all the conversations we've had, and I wish we had recorded them because we talked about a lot of stuff.
That's okay. We can
Yeah.
go back and start to do that. Yeah, start to do that again. That's not a problem, you know. But you guys start, because there's so much stuff in my head. I don't know how to organize them and how to, you know.
We'll answer ask you some questions. We'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Okay.
Okay. Sound good?
Yeah, and then we won't move our feet
Yeah.
because so we'll start. I don't know.
So, Brian, what's your last name?
My last name is Donovan.
How do you spell that?
D-O-N-O. V as in Victor, A-N.
And how do you spell your first name? B-R-I-A-N?
I-A-N.
I-A-N? So, where are you from, Brian?
Let's see, I was born in New York, in
Mhm.
Brooklyn, and I was only there a short time, really. Thank you. I was only there until I was 6, I believe, and then we moved here in 72 in Florida, Seminole County.
Seminole County.
Yep.
Been here since 1972, the year I was born.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so yes.
And so, what give us a quick breakdown on how you ended up in this situation.
You know, that's a question now, I'll tell you, because I think about this, and thinking about this probably last night, and you know, several nights beyond that. You know, it's just I don't know if there's one way I said this is what happened and this is what caused it. It was just a series, you know, a series of events that unraveled my life, really. An injury was, I think, the main root cause for most of the trouble that I had and that I have, because I'm still, I still suffer with a lot of issues, back and legs, and hard to walk and so forth. So, how did I get here? In my thoughts is, an injury, car wreck. Although I've always seemed to have something going on with my back and so forth, being weak and going out. But after the car wreck that I had got run into a telephone pole. Literally, I was just about stopped when somebody hit me in a F-350 truck and just slammed me into a telephone pole. I was hurt, and I was hurt for a good long time, and it stopped my whole life. At that point, I was really active and coached my son to a very high level in sports. And
What was the sport?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah. And we traveled, all through the country. He's been to Hawaii, and we've traveled to, upstate New York, and played with a lot of the minor league circuit. This is back when he was 15, so we was young, but we California. He had some top notch training.
What's your relationship with him look now?
Unfortunately, I don't have a relationship with any of my family. The homelessness and some of the other things have distanced them from me to where I just I'm not part of their lives anymore. And, it's really hard to deal with.
Would you like to see them?
Of course, I would like to see them. I love them. No matter what. It hurts that I don't feel like I had that same thing, that just trust me, I've stood by them through some of their darkest times growing up, and I don't know.
Are they here local?
Yes, they are. They're very. One was living right down the street. Literally a mile and a half from me. I had my first grandchild with. He did, and I've yet to see my first grandchild or my second grandchild that my daughter has had. And again, we had a great relationship growing up with all my kids, and for them to actually keep them, away from me is again another heartbreaking.
How old are your grandchildren?
The oldest, I believe, is going on 4. And my daughter, my youngest child, she had a baby boy, and he's probably around 2.5, somewhere in that area, I think. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really tough for me to deal with, to not see my family and, all the people that I've loved my whole life. It's been several, like 5 or 6 years now, or longer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And Brian, every time I see you, you're worried about someone. There was that person who went missing a couple days ago that you were going to scope out at camp, and you were worried about him. And the very first day I met you, you were talking about one of your campmates who was 80 who passed away.
Yeah.
So I was saying to Jude that it's all about people. No matter where you are, we care about people, and that's one thing I've noticed is that every time I see you, you're worried about someone.
Why is that, Brian?
I don't know. I'm somewhat of a caretaker, I guess, from my years of therapy that I've been through, from my divorce, and prior to that was the death of one of my parents when I was young. So I've had my share of counseling, and I seem to be a caretaker. Probably, not probably. Probably.
You take care of people out here?
I do.
Yeah.
I actually, I do. I try to. I don't turn anyone down and for help, although it's caused lots of issues, because people kind of take advantage of that.
You recently had some people that passed away recently, right?
I did. One of them I was able to administer CPR and bring him and save him. But a couple more, about a month after that, he had the same issue, and I wasn't there, and the other people that were there didn't do anything.
How does that make you feel?
Well, at that time, I was upset with it, but some experiences since then, has gotten me thinking differently and maybe understanding what they went through at that time. They could have panicked, and for lots of reasons. This is not a lot of the stuff that I go through out here it's in such a gray area, that like for instance, we were not where these things have happened took place. It was a spot that we're not supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically camping on professional camping, in spots wherever we can find, a vacant piece of woods that nobody's using, and so we're in places that we could be run out of if someone knew we were there. So, panicking and not knowing what to do, and not knowing if you should call the police or the ambulance or what. What do you do? So I understand a little bit more about maybe what they've been through. I've always said that I'd never do that, but I've learned being out here that never word you should never use.
You should never use the never word.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because things that you thought you'd never do, you find yourself doing. Things that you thought you would do, you find yourself not doing. It's very confusing. In fact, I feel very disconnected lately. I feel very little lost, and not feeling that that I'm fitting in or belonging to my surroundings. So I'm kind of going through it and not knowing, what the next day is going to bring, because every day, every single day is some kind of adventure in living. You know, for me it has been.
So this came about because of a car accident. Can you tell us a little bit more about the events that transpired? So you got in a car accident.
So I
and
got
then-
into a car accident. I was basically I was running a retail store at that particular time. This was back around 99, 2000, something like that. Running a retail store, and I was just about to turn into the store. So I was pretty much. It was a Sunday morning, and no cars on the road. And so I was going slow. I just had stopped, got a cup of coffee, and so I'm kind of just coasting into the store. And the next thing I know, something just slams into me, and I spin into like a 360 and run into a telephone. I seen a telephone pole coming straight at me, and you know, that's all I remember at that point. You know, just everything. I was blacked out. And
what were your injuries from that?
I had I suffered with soft tissue, obviously, damage in my neck and my back. In fact, that's one of the things that still bother me to this day is my neck and my lower back. You know, from that, we weren't sure how we weren't sure on the nerve damage, because I had lost feelings in my fingers, 3 or 4 of them, on both hands. And I played a guitar, so it was very disheartening when you know, I had that problem. And so let's see what happened. I'm gonna go back here. So yeah, so I injury to my back, to my neck. I was just basically in pain all the time, severe discomfort, and that's when they had prescribed the painkillers. I got very, I don't think I was very happy to, you know, I wasn't very nice to be around. I don't know what the right word is, but I was hurt and seemingly angry, and nothing seemed to be okay with me during those periods.
So you were hurt, but do you feel like the pain medications made that worse? Like you not being nice to be around? Was it the function of that also?
I'm not sure. You know, I know the pain. I was just short, and you know, it's when you're riding in a car, and then every little bump, you know, it's just it pains you. You know, and you're like, man, watch the bump. You know, just kind of like short and like wanting people to, you know, take more care around you, for you, and just, you know, that kind of thing, being, you know, feeling very like I should, you know, you guys should watch out for me kind of thing, you know, and because I'm hurt. And although I was hurt, I think again, I think I was angry, and that didn't go well.
So then what, you couldn't work anymore? Is that correct?
Well, no, I was off for a while. I don't recall exactly how long I was off at that point, but you know, that made it difficult for a while to work. And the funny thing was, I was getting ready to be released from the doctor's care from these injuries, and he was ready to write a report regarding all this stuff when I got hit again by a semi that hit me from behind and sent me twirling, you know, off the median, and he kept going, you know. So I was, you know, I was up Schitt's Creek at that point, because now I go back to the doctor and the lawyer, and nobody can say what injuries was caused by what. So it was a big cluster, and you know, that ended up settling for, you know, like peanuts, you know, basically just your standard, you know, Florida law, what they give you, you know. But it was, you know, nothing that was going. I didn't know, you know. I should have asked for more care and more treatment. In fact, that's what I suggest to anybody that goes through that. anybody out here, I always tell them that, when they offer you something, go back to them and say, look, no, I want another year of treatment. Asking for money, that's one thing, that's a separate deal, but always ask for more treatment because you usually can get it.
And you'll usually need it, yeah.
You will need it, So the thing with that injury, it changed my life. I was no longer able to do some of the things that I used to do. One of the things was coach my son, and that again was that was really hard for me and for him, for to be part of all of that. About the same time, my wife left me. She decided after 20 years that she didn't want to be married anymore, and I understand now. I didn't understand then. We were together since she was 15 or so. So kind of she kind of grew up and wanted to do some things, do other things with her life. But so that was going on, part of the injury thing.
You said you were angry. I would have been angry for the bad luck of getting hit. Do you know what I mean? And then get hit again. It's not only are you in pain, it's just the emotional, like, why me scenario.
I think I did have some why me kind of thing. And then, what I came up with was why not you? You're, another cog in a wheel out here, and, it could happen to anybody, and it happened to you, And that's about the best I can come up with, because I couldn't come up with any other answers, about, really, especially with the divorce thing. That thing caught me by surprise. About this same time, my son, my oldest son, I basically came out to him, and found, kind of suspected that he was gay, and so all these things were happening at the same time, and that's about the same time that my son, being that I wasn't with him, he was in a special tournament out of state, and he's right around 18. Threw a pitch and broke his arm and ended his pitching career, before it got started. So I had all these things going on at one time, and I basically, my wife's gone, the kids are trying to get up and get their own life going, and I had my son actually living in one of the towns where he played baseball and went to high school there, because it was a better school and he had more opportunity. He ended up winning the high school state championship there, and the national championship, and the junior Olympics. So he got a lot of good things going on. So he was in his own apartment, and my oldest son, the one that was gay, and he wanted to go to California, so he traveled to California to try out there to do. He got into some movies. He was into theater, and he was actually going to school for cutting hair. Mm-hmm. I never was prouder. My son's a gay hairdresser. I told him that. We used to joke back and forth, but he's a good guy. So I had all these things going on in my life, and I think I had a meltdown. Because,
you had a meltdown.
I did have a meltdown. And
everything hit you at one time.
In a series of a small amount of, they were very close in proximity to each other, and I think I had a nervous breakdown, I think, and after we found out with the real thing about my wife, it was obviously it was not because she didn't want to be married anymore. It was because there was somebody at work, all that kind of stuff. I was told at that point that, I spent too much time with the kids, I didn't spend enough time with her, I did all this kind of dumb stuff, so I was really questioned a lot of things, and I was going through it, and I was very angry. That kept me angry for a while, and that distanced me from everybody as well, because I was just so angry.
So how did you officially decide that, or how did it come about that you live in this environment that you're in now?
Oh yeah, well, we're getting there. Like I said, it's a complicated mess. So with the injury, okay, I'm dealing with. So now, you know, everybody's grown up, been gone. The house that I loved, I just couldn't roam around there anymore, so I sold it. And I traveled for about a year and a half, you know, just trying to figure out my life. I came back and went into a program to try to help me manage the troubles that I was having, mostly being in pain, the painkillers, the medication, all of that stuff was kind of taking on a world of its own, a life of its own rather. And so I tried to deal with that for a while, and was pretty successful. Ended up started when I came back and went through the program and got out. I ended up with a couple little slip-ups, but I ended up staying clean for about 7 years. You know, until I had met someone that I began a relationship with, but she unfortunately had been used, which I didn't know at the time. She was using narcotics and alcohol. I knew about the alcohol. So that, as you can imagine, was not good for me. But I had put her, you know, in front of what was good for me. And
Hold on a second.
Well, our desire to have a partner.
yeah,
Hold on a second.
unfortunately, and he was like, "How are you going to handle that?" About, you know, because he was telling me, you know, 95% of, you know, the homeless out here are addicts, you know, in some respect. He goes, how are you gonna, you know, how are you gonna present that? Because, you know, we both know, you know, not only the stigma around being homeless, you throw the addiction on top of that, you know, especially you know, addicts versus alcoholics, which they're both addicts, but, you know, they have nice little titles. Addicts, you know, with the drugs, that has its own stigma. You know, people are always, you know, distrustful and you know, so forth. Maybe rightfully so, not really, but, you know, because everybody's different. Yeah, so he's like, how are you gonna do that? You know, and present that in a nice little package for everybody. And I said, I don't know. You know, everybody's story is different, you know. But I know living this lifestyle, you can't live outside like this and really not be on something, you know. The emotional pain, trauma, you know, and chances are, you know, maybe whatever medical problems you may have leads itself to, you know, find some relief, especially the agonizing mental aspect of all this, because it's, you know, you sit there, most of the time you spend alone, you know. I mean, it's really fucking hard, man. I've never thought this would happen to me, you know, but I spend most of my day alone, you know. I spend most of my time alone. I don't have interactions with people that much, you know. I mean, the stores and stuff, you know, you say hi, I make it a point to. I'm at least a little bit cleaner cut than a lot of homeless people are, that doesn't have the opportunity to talk to people like I talk to people, because they look at them and they cringe, you know. They're afraid. I get this too, because I panhandle, you know, for money, and I walked by somebody's car, it was either today or yesterday, and she grabbed her purse and put it over in her lap. Her window was down, and you know, that's the kind of stuff that happens a lot to us out here. You know, as people look at us and, you know, don't want to look at us. You know, they look at us and they become they want to roll up their window. They don't want to acknowledge this person. And I'm not going to say all people like that, because I've met some, incredibly nice people that aren't like that. They have a heart. They have compassion. They don't judge you for the book by its cover. So
They see the human side.
they do. They see there's a person there that that needs help. And thank God for these kind of people. That's, to me, they're angels. Without them, I would surely die. This is the only way I am surviving out here, and that's the truth. If it wasn't for these nice people every day, giving me money or food and all this, the basics, hygiene stuff, clothes. Sometimes they'll buy you shoes, stuff like that. I would have absolutely nothing.
The young couple that washed your clothes.
Yeah, they wash your clothes for you. So you've got a few people that are showing that they care about you as a human. Right?
Yeah, and that's just kind of recently started. That I have folks that are because I haven't been here that long, probably less than a year on this side. On the Aloma side, there's a church over there that they're really nice. They give you lunches every day and clothes and different things, but they're there every day, and we're having breakfast on a Sunday until the COVID-19 stopped all that. They had breakfast on Sunday for the homeless, for going back as far as I can remember, at least 6 or 7 years that I've been around here. But yeah, so getting back to how people look at you, I'll just jump back real quick. Going through the relationship that I started with this girl, she was using. I was trying to keep it all together. I ended up breaking my leg, which another injury to me, or I fractured, basically, really not broken, but I fractured my femur.
Now you have a condition that causes this to happen more easily, right? What's it called?
Well, the doctor, when I fractured my back the very first time, or maybe the second time, I ended up going to the doctor, and he'd make me take a bone density test, and he said that I had osteopenia, which
Osteo what?
Osteopenia.
Osteopenia.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's osteoporosis. Right.
They call it basically like brittle bone disease.
Yes, it's a soft bone disease.
So how many times have you broken bones that you are aware of?
Broken
or
Or
fractured.
fractured. At least half a dozen times.
Half a dozen. So your leg, your back, your neck, back a couple times.
Back 3 or 4 times. My femur.
And when did that start?
The soft bone part, I don't
When
know.
did the fracture start? Breaking.
Okay. I never thought of that. The fracture started after the wrecks. Okay, so
I imagine
prior
your body
to
was
that-
weaker, so it
okay.
yeah, it would start.
Prior to that, for me, let's see, it started. Boom, 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 boom. You say that it happened a couple of times that I didn't realize. That I fractured my back. My back would go out, like I would not be able to, and that happened several times because I did some physical work here and there, and my back would go out, and I was done for a couple of days. But so I'd have to be careful doing certain things. But this is going back as far as let's see, the kids were small then, so we're talking 25 years. That
Right.
I've been
It's
having.
not something that just develops overnight. Something
Right,
that's been
it's been
around
going
for a
on
while.
for a long time. But when the fracture was starting, really probably 7, 6, 4, so maybe 15 years ago.
And so the car accidents obviously would compound that and make you get hurt worse because of that condition. Therefore, you were prescribed pain meds And that was the downward spiral, right?
That was. I mean, at the time, pain is not my friend, and I don't function well. Seemingly, after going through all this other stuff too, they diagnosed me with several other little things, which dealt with, my personality. I won't say disorders, but just kind of my makeup. Had always been a high energy kind of person. Don't sleep. I can go for, sit really for most of my life. I'm 2 to 4 hours sleep kind of guy. That's it. That's all I sleep. If I sleep, I can stay up for days.
That's now?
That's now and then.
And then.
And it's been that way for a long, 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 long time. But I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, or it was any kind of condition or whatever. But apparently, the doctor described it as hypomania. Okay? And hypomania is, on your psychological scale there, you have what they consider normal. Okay? And then, you have people that have full-blown depression, okay? But there's also people that have kind of I call it the Eeyore syndrome. They're just kind of like nothing makes them happy. They're just always kind of like, That's called, I think, dysthymia. So it's a low-level depression that stays with them all the time. Well, I have a low, and then you have mania, which is just, people like, hey, let's go to Mexico. They don't have no concept of reality, basically. They just want to go and do whatever it is. That goes with that bipolar kind of thing, or is that the flavor?
That's it.
Is that the flavor of your bipolar? It used to be manic depressive, but now it's bipolar. Bipolar is the flavor of the decade, so that's what everybody is, bipolar. But me, I stay in an elevated state, so that's
But
part
that's
of the
a good
reason.
thing, right?
I always thought, it was like a gift from God, because I could, I worked really hard. I could manage a lot of things. I could, talk on 2 telephones and manage employees and sell at the same time. I thought that
It's
was
like a
good thing.
superpower.
It's like a superpower. That's exactly right. High sex drive. That's all part of that kind of in that realm of this hypomania kind of thing. I battled depression, after my divorce, but after we kind of got that cleaned up and dealt with some of those things and learned how to deal with it, this came about as my normal everyday how I am.
Can I say something? You said that you're not good with pain.
Oh, very
but
good.
No one is. That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
who's good
That's
with
the
Okay,
pain?
so
No, I mean,
some people, people's threshold for pain is different.
You're right.
My thing is like, I will do anything to be out of pain. Okay, period. When I'm in pain, my thing was back then, I would take stuff until it stopped. Because I can't function. I don't think that's a problem with the hypomania thing. When you have these issues to where now I'm limited in what I can do, I'm battling this depression thing. I was not functioning. I was not functioning, and it was frustrating, and I was dealing with this, I was dealing with this pain, and I was dealing with this hypomania, and I was dealing with these different things that was pulling me apart. I had a lot of emotions, a lot of emotional issues going on, with the divorce and the empty nest syndrome, seemingly. And not being in my kid's life anymore, and all of these things, just had a really huge effect on me. And after I fractured my femur, that's when everything got bad, because now I couldn't walk. For about 18 weeks, I was struggling. I was working. I had a job for, I think, 5, 6, or 7 years. I was at this place, and I ended up having to give that job up. It was a good job, but I could not physically do it anymore. I couldn't walk, and a lot of jobs, you take for granted walking. When you're in good shape or just normal. Normally, you take for advantage walking. I never realized how much I took advantage, or took, what was the word I'm looking for?
For granted, maybe?
for granted
Walking.
walking, you know, because now I struggle, you know, I struggle walking. I fall, you know, a lot because of the problems I have with my back and my legs. I don't lift them up that high, so I, you know, trip on the sidewalk. I trip over thin air. I just, you know, I fall, you know, a lot, and, you know, I have a lot of shooting pains and different things, which all these things lead again to, you know, make it stop. So I'm still in that situation, you know, that with pain.
So Brian, let me ask you some tough questions, if you don't mind. A lot of people think that homeless people choose to be out here. What do you say to that? Do you choose to be here?
No, I didn't choose to be here. Not at all did I choose to be here. This was something that I was kind of thrust into after losing my job and having really no place to go. This is what led. I was scared really for a while, you know. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens on the street that's scary, you know. So I was scared. I mean, I remember calling my sister, telling her I was scared, you know, to be out here like this. But nobody really seemed. Nobody was willing to. Nobody was willing to put themselves out there and, you know, help me the way I needed help, you know. Nobody was willing to open up their doors and say, hey, you know, for long, you know, whatever it takes, you know, we're going to get this thing straight now. At first they did try to help, you know, but because I wasn't magically cured, they stopped, you know. They stopped, so.
How much, if you can put into words, how much would you like to see your children?
I love my kids, you know, that's a tricky question, you know. I'm angry, you know, I'm hurt really. I'm not angry. I'm not really angry. I'm just hurt, you know. And sometimes hurt turns into, you know, you respond. The response seems to be angry, you know, but it's just because you're covering up the pain that you're in. You know, I thought my life was going to be a lot different. You know, I put a lot of time and effort into raising my kids, and I never missed anything. You know, I was part of each and every one of their lives, and, you know, PTA president, and YMCA, you know, volunteer, and program director for this, and, you know, that was all to be part of my kid's life. I wanted to be there, you know, because my mom died when I was, you know, young, when I was 11 or 12, I think, and she was the one that made everything happen while we were growing up. My dad didn't really do anything, but my mom was all part of that, and so I thought that my life going forward, putting all this effort and trying to raise my kids, you know, to be good people and go out there in the world, and, you know, that there was a white picket fence and the kids coming over for holidays, and, you know, stuff that we did, you know. But it seems like the world has changed now. It seems like, you know, this isn't as important as it was when I was growing up. That, you know, you get together on holidays and you do all of that, and, you know, your parents and your like my grandmother lived with me my whole life growing up. It's weird because I was out on the street early too, but, you know, like at 13 or 14, I didn't live at my dad's anymore. I lived with my sister, but, you know, I ran the streets. You know, I was out, you know, out of school early, and I got lost. Where was I?
You were just. Where were you? Oh, talking about wanting to see your
What?
kids.
Oh,
that
see my
you were
kids.
like-
So I thought I was going to have this different life, that I put all this effort. You know, my dream was to be, you know, to be a good grandparent, and to be, you know, just be proud of the kids that I raised because they're good people, and that's not been the case, you know, and I'm hurt, you know, that they don't want to see me, you know.
You said they don't want to see you.
Yeah, he said it's hurt that they don't want to
It's
see.
hurt that you don't.
I mean, obviously they must not want to see me. They.
What do you think it would take?
Obviously to them, they would, it's so crazy because I have a issue with this as well. Is they probably would talk about drug use,
Okay.
Although they've all had their little,
Right.
they all, somebody does something here, smoke pot or tried this or tried that. So, at first when this all happened, I understand them being kind of shocked, like super dad, is not, the super dad we thought he was, he's human and, he's doing stupid shit, so seemingly. And but as they got older, I know they all got involved, especially my son that was gay, they have a lifestyle of, and there's some drugs involved in that. Not that they're doing them now, but I know they at least walked through some of that, and I know my other kids have smoked pot and, done some other things. So what I'm trying to say is they've been exposed to that as adults, and in my mind seeming like, oh, that's not the big deal, that we thought it was, when we didn't do them. So they have that. So what I'm beating the drum at is like, it's very hypocritical. I have a problem with that when they're like, hey, you're doing this. I know I'm doing this and drinking every day and smoking pot and doing that and doing this. But not that I've ever brought anything around them, anything. They would mention that as being, the first talking point they would talk about.
Is the drugs.
Right.
I'm
But the
wondering-
thing is, I was clean for 7 years, okay? I got clean, and it did not seem to make a difference. I tried to get them to come over for dinner. I tried to get to be part of their life, to be, but everybody was busy with their own life. Everybody had shit to do. It wasn't like they put any big effort into coming over for holidays. They'd be like, oh, no, we're going, we're going to go skiing or whatever the case is, I mean, it was just like nobody seemed very interested in the traditional stuff that they had all grown up doing, So I kind of gave up, I gave up, and that's part of this too. I think I just gave up, man. I gave up.
Do you think it would make a difference if you had a place to live?
Well, it did when I was clean for that time, because at least I could, invite them over and have them come and, and at least see them a little bit.
How would that change your life in general, though, if you had a place to live?
Oh, that was, that would be huge. I miss having a place. Right now, I miss having a tent. I mean, I'm kind of a person that loves to be, picking up their home, and I did the whole thing, my backyardscape at my house, and so forth. But I did a lot of that for the kids, some place for them to stay and swim, and hot tub, and bring their friends over, and but having a place is something that's where it all begins. I mean, it would be huge for me to have a place. I would love to have a place again.
If you had a place, it'd be easier to get a job. Is that accurate?
Well, I think it would be. Although with these injuries that I have, I don't know if I'm capable of working anymore.
But are you not on disability?
I am not on disability. We're right now we're looking into seeing if I can get approved for disability.
And that's been a process.
That is a process. And
What? I'm wondering why you didn't get disability 6 or 7 years ago, because if anyone needed disability, you did.
yeah,
Not knowing where to go and then just one thing after another.
well, it's crazy as it sounds. I always, somehow, I've always come out somehow with making something, being able to find a spot, have a tent, or something, be able to survive. I've been a survivor out here, because I've had to be. You know, at first, you know, I didn't know what to do, but I was a scout leader, so all these things came back to me. You know, like I said, I didn't think I'd be doing it professionally, but you know, I have a lot of skill in camping and surviving like that. You know, so those, you know, it came about. It served me well because I've been able to. The difference between me and so many of the other guys is that I'll make some kind of home somewhere. You know, I'll with a tent or even not with a tent. You know, I can somehow create something that I, you know, that.
So you help other people feel connected to you. Let them come to your camp.
Yes,
and
I do.
You said earlier that home is where it all starts.
Home is where it all starts. You know, home is home is where you create, you know, these, you know, at least I thought they were, where you create, you know, the bond and you know, and you create traditions you do, and you know,
It's also your safe place.
that as well. You know, you can go in and
shut your door.
go in and shut the door and be by your, you know, be there home with yourself. You know, if you're having those bad days, or me, it's always been a happy place. I've always tried to make it a happy place where, you know, memories are made and holidays and just, I don't know, it's a home to me is just a warm, happy place, you know, that you look forward to. And I say, man, so many times I just want to go fucking home, man.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I just want to go home.
And if you had a choice, there's anything right now is better than what you have now, right? As long as you had a roof over your head.
Yes. Anything would be good. You know, it's weird though, because I've been out here so long now that you know, I was in a place, I don't know, about 2 years ago. Got into a program and, you know, went into a rehab and, you know, got clean and I was on an alternative medication, which is helpful, was the kind of stuff that I was using, and everything was going good. But then they changed the rules on me and decided that you couldn't be on that alternative medication that was prescribed, and kind of booted me out of there back to the street, you know. But while I was there, you know, I was starting to get back into the rhythm, because what happens, I've been out here so long, it's really hard, that disconnection I feel going into a store. I feel, and I've had experience with this with other people. When the shoe was on the other foot, I was doing fine. I was trying to help them, and they would get some anxiety about going into stores and seemingly very confused about how to go about that whole process of shopping again, and, you know, looking for stuff for yourself, you know. And like, I find myself doing that now. I go in the store and like, you know, I don't even, you know, I feel very uncomfortable because I feel people are looking at me, you know.
You feel out of place.
I feel out of place, you know, and I don't even want to try stuff on. I don't even want to, you know, I want to go back to the safety of the place that I know, which is this place, which is pretty fucking sad, you know. But I want to go back to the streets that I know, you know. I feel.
So are you comfortable going to the grocery store?
The grocery store I'm okay with. You know, the grocery store I'm okay with. Going to the mall or something, not really. You know, going to you know, a place to go shopping for clothes. No, you know, because that means I'd have to, you know, I want to try stuff on, and, you know, bathing is optional out here, so, you know, I'm not, I try to keep clean, but I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm not clean like you guys are, you know. I'm not clean, like I didn't take a shower yesterday, or the day before that, or the day before that, or the day before that, but I do try to clean up, you know.
We're losing the light here, so try to tell me real quick. Tell us what your ideal situation would be tomorrow.
My ideal situation tomorrow, in what way, and what
well, you tell me what would make your life the best. better than it is today, and where you could see it improving?
Well, there's so many things, you know. A place
What's number one?
A place to live.
Place to live.
A place to live. But with that, I need to have an income.
You need
know,
an income,
An
okay?
income,
Yeah.
You know, something that's going to help me not only pay for that, or if it's reduced, great, but being able to, you know, get things for myself that I may need, or you know, just.
Or pay the electricity.
Right.
Or just
Not
the
only
basic
only
stuff.
the basic stuff there, but also stuff to be able to, like bus passes and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I have you know licensed stuff, but having a place to go to at the end of the day, that I think is probably in my heart the thing that I want the most. You know, although again, I have anxiety thinking about that because I don't, you know, you're gonna have to fill that stuff with furniture and this and that and the other, and I just have this. I feel like I'm having social anxiety. These all things are new to me because I've never experienced anything like this before. But I feel scared. I feel worried. Loud noises. I'm always, I've gotten attacked a couple of times being out here. Somebody hit me with a pair of brass knuckles one time. I didn't see coming. They just sucker punched me with it. So I've had some trauma out here that I'm very, I'm scared. I get scared. I don't show people I'm scared, but I feel scared. I feel,
You're always on edge. You have to be to survive.
And I've been very edgy here, very edgy here lately, with some of these people. I've had a lot of things stolen from me. Every time I turn around, somebody's stealing something from me, which makes me very angry.
So a place to live is number one, and income's number two.
Income.
And the next thing sounds like the most important thing is people. Is that right?
People, yes. It's sad, but I'm alone a lot, and I just, I'm a social kind of person, so I really long for those relationships again that I've had in the past. I'm afraid that I'm going to end up, just, not having anybody in my life ever again. That I'm just going to be out here. I'm going to die out here alone, and the kids I'm never going to see again. I'm not going to. I'm just going to fade away, and that's what's been happening. Is I'm fading away. Because I've lost a lot of hope. Very recently I've gained some hope. With some things that are happening. So I do have some hope today. But we're talking about recently. It's been a struggle. But
And have things started to change since this amazing woman stopped to see you?
This amazing woman, yes, she has given just a very, very super nice person that has an amazing heart, and seen somehow that I was in dire straits.
Well, you're in dire straits, but you also have really good energy about you. You're a good person. You're very bright as well, and caring. You're concerned about other people, even though you're in this situation. Like I said earlier, each time I speak with you, you're talking about other people you're worried about. So,
I'm not sure about that. I guess that's I didn't realize that. I just.
You're just being you.
Yeah, I guess so. I do care about people. And my friends, the couple of friends that I have here that you've met, like Jimmy, the guy in a red car, and he always tells me, they always tell me that, you gotta leave them people alone, Brian, and just worry about yourself. But it's hard, and I don't know why that is. That's a psychological thing that they'll have to figure out.
well, I'm like that too. I mean, what's life if you're not with other humans, helping them, and
I don't, I feel led to do that, and I follow that voice, in me that leads me to do things, and I feel that this is what I should do. And sometimes it doesn't turn out well for me. Actually, most times it hasn't been, but it still doesn't stop me from, because I don't want to change that about me.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
although people tell me I shouldn't, but I don't feel like, I don't want to, because if I lose that, I don't know, I don't know how else to be, I don't know how to just worry about myself. But people, you need to worry about yourself. I don't know how to do that, I would like to have somebody in my life that may be worried about me. That would be nice, They can say, hey, Brian, okay, cool, I'm a partner. I don't really like this, solo trip that I'm on,
I can't imagine you, actually.
I couldn't either. I couldn't either. This is just stuff that I've been thrust into, and I don't like it, and I'm really, I feel like I'm going to be alone the rest of my life, and I don't want to be, and if I don't do, and thank God for both of you guys stopping, and a couple other people that of recent, because if I don't do something, something doesn't happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Is I'm going to be out here alone, and I'm going to die out here, and I'm not sure how to fix it myself. So
We all need help. We all need a partner in life.
Yeah. I needed help. Jude helped me a lot. I had Lyme's disease for years, and I couldn't figure it out myself. And I had friends and family, and I had plenty of money. He had to help me because I was so sick, So when you say you're in pain, I mean, I don't know. And because like when I asked you why you don't have disability, I think one of the reasons probably is because you couldn't figure it out yourself because you were hurt. That's the thing. We can't figure that stuff out. Can't think straight.
A couple of times, right. I really have trouble really being able to put things together anymore. I used to have a good mind, but it seemed like I'm very disconnected. And a couple of times that I tried to get some help, where I went to somebody, they basically shut the door. They're like, well, you don't have to go out. You got to just, no, I didn't even get to find anything out. They were just
Right.
like, you don't have what, you just, so there's like nothing available for you. That's what I hear a lot. There's nothing available for you. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's why we all need advocates for us. So I'm
Yes.
hoping we can help a little bit. And so, yeah, this disability thing too would be amazing. So
It would be a great start.
Yeah.
When I remember from the IRS thing, because they send you, how much you've made and what you're anticipating.
Brian, if there's one last thing you would say to anybody watching this video, anything, what would you say?
That's a very good question. Good thing to say.
Speak up.
What would I say to somebody watching this video? Well, I would say, don't give up. I would say that, there's more to this life than what you see, and what you see in this realm. So open up your heart, open up your mind, to what's going on, and see how you can help, because I think that's what we're supposed to do while we're here. We're supposed to help other people, and don't give up. And I'd like to take that same advice, but I feel like that's what I need to say is like, don't give up, because you're worth the time and effort. Everybody has problems, but you don't have to let the problems be the end of you. So I know my situation isn't the best looking at mine, but I haven't given up. I don't know what keeps pushing me forward, but I know that I haven't given up. And you shouldn't give up either. I think I'm worthy. I know I've fucked some shit up. I know they were shocked about the drugs and whatever else. It was all petty. It's all little shit. But I've done so much for them, man. I was there for anything and everything, and I just like, see people and their dysfunctional families and, you know, fucking axe murdering father or whatever, you know, he did or whatever, and they just love him, you know, they accept him for who he is. I feel so totally unaccepted about being me, and I don't know, you know, I don't know what else. I wish they would just say, tell me what is the problem? What are you mad about? What can I do to fix it? You know? And I get nothing. You know? I get nothing. It's like, wow. You know, we go back to like, you know, you're using drugs. You've never seen me use drugs. You've never seen me on drugs. You know? What about, hey, Dad, I love you, and you know what? I want to, you know, let's see if we can figure it out, you know? You know? I don't know, but everybody's too busy. Everybody's, you know, that's why I just, you know, I think a lot of some of this stuff out here, guys, is just because my fucking heart's broke, man, you know? My heart is just fucking broken.
And yet, in spite of that, you're out here telling people that they're worthy and not don't give up. You're always looking to help other people. You see that, right?
I guess.
Do you recognize that now?
Well, I know what pain is, you know, and I hate seeing people in pain. I really fucking hate seeing people in pain. I'd rather help them and see if I can help them, you know, because I know what it's like to be in pain. I don't like it. You know, I don't like it. It's not my friend. What if my kids will, you know, think of me, you know, in a good, positive way, you know. I used to. I think about my daughter all the time when I'm out here flying and thinking, you know, she must be fucking, she must really be so disappointed, you know. But I was thinking, you know, if my dad was out there panhandling, I'd be damned if I'd let him panhandle, man. I'd be damned. I'm like, all right, you son of a bitch, you pissed me off, but you know what? Come on, you know. Come to the house, you know, we'll figure it out, you know. We'll figure out how I can help you, you know, how I can help you help yourself. That's all I wanted. There was a time when it took much. I just needed a place to stay so I could get a job and I could take it from there. You know, I couldn't even get that. You know, everybody was too in their own shit, I guess. I don't know. Maybe dad should, you know, parents shouldn't be needing help like that. Yeah, well, maybe all that's good, well and good, but this day and age, man, all that shit's out the window, man. You know, all that shit's out the window. Things are so different now, man. You know, things are so different that, you know, it's not like, you know, it was back in the day where, you know, things were, you know, stable and steady and you know, maybe parents didn't need help like that, but my whole world.
Sometimes they did, you know, and maybe they would still have their parents alive too, but my mother, you know, my mother needed help. I know other people, they needed help.
But they took care of each other. They took care of their family. They may have fought in the daytime or whatever the case is, but they didn't like we did the same thing. I mean, my grandmother, for God's sake, you know, lived with me. She lived with me until she died, you know, and back, you know, she lived with me when I was growing up, and then when I got married and had kids and so forth, it was, you know, she died at 98, you know, and I was going to have my grandma on the street or something, or whatever the case is. I mean, my grandmother was amazing, you know, and, you know, the realization of that in my generation was, like, you didn't, like your parents or your grandparents, yeah, man, you know, you need help, well, they're going to live with me or whatever the case is, you know. That doesn't seem to be how it is now. Now it's just like, it's this throwaway society. I don't really, you know, it causes me some, you know, I don't have time for that, you know, I'm busy doing this, so they don't want to get all involved in that. It's like, it's just, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, I don't know. See the dysfunctional families, but they still love their parents or they still love their kids or whatever the case is. They may fight like cats and dogs, and I'd never want to go to their house for the holidays, but they seemingly, you know, seem to work it out for themselves, you know. And I don't understand why I can't. I don't understand. After having such a good run with my kids and everything, why is it like this? You know, why don't they want to be part of it? lately, though, I've been like, look, just let it go, leave it alone, let it go, leave it alone, let it go, leave it go. You know, so when I talk about it, I get mad, I get upset, I get hurt. So I'm just trying to leave it alone. Just like, you know, just put it out of my mind, you know, like I don't have anybody. Like nobody's there. Just looking at what it's hurt, man. Fucking 6 years or 7 years of you know, no holidays, no Christmas, not even a call, not even a fucking look for me on the street thing, you know. I'm like, was I that horrible of a person? I don't get that, you know. Birthdays, whatever, Father's Day, anything. I don't know, you know. I don't know. That's enough about all that. It is what it is. Maybe we can change some of this, huh? Maybe we can find a place to live. Maybe we can get some income coming in, and maybe they'll want to come and see me. You know, maybe things will change. Life is about change, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's one thing's for sure. Everything's is about change.
right? So we can hope that, you know, we can hope for better things. We'll try to start, you know, changing that, you know, try to start hoping for better things, you know. That's what I'll do. You know, I appreciate you guys. You know, you guys are helping me, you know, do that. You know. I don't want to do, you know, I don't want you guys to feel like, you know, you're wasting your time, so I'm going to do everything I can, you know, to help myself, because I know that's what you guys want to see, you know, so.
There you go, Brian. Thinking about somebody else again. And you know what? What did we just say? The most important thing is people, right?
Right.
So it's great that you're concerned about other people in the situation that you're in. You're teaching us all a lesson, including Susan and I. Okay?
Really?
Yes.
Well, and also, any little help we give you is because we want to. It's not, you know, it's not for any reason besides
I
that.
know that. I mean, I know that. I know you guys are genuine, you know, and I appreciate that, man. You guys are cool. You know,
We
really.
actually like your company, too.
Thank you.
You're,
I like y'all's company. Y'all,
yeah, you're a funny dude.
you're down to earth, and you know, you know, I think we kind of gel on the same level, you know, and I feel like you guys understand me, you know, feel me, you know, a little bit, feel where I'm coming from, and yeah, I like you know, you're quirky. I like that, you know. And,
Quirky for sure.
yeah, you know, and
We've heard that quite a few times.
Usually it's not quirky, it's weird.
Yeah, right. Usually it's weird.
You guys are weird. That's it.
and I like that. I like that weird, and you know, dude, you got layers, man. You got layers. So I'm trying to learn about you, because you've got layers and layers going on.
Don't let the geeky glasses fool you.
Yeah, they fooled me at first. They damn sure fooled me at first. I was like, you been where?
Where'd you go?
What? What? How long? What? Holy shit, man.
Yep.
That's what I felt. That's when I felt like I actually opened up more. When I found out, I was like, well, God, he'd understand. He's seen a lot of shit, you know. That's the thing about some of this is like, it's hard to talk to people because they don't fucking understand, man. They don't, you know, this really, it's hard, you know, and I don't know. I try and, I'm honest, you know, as far as, but I look at people and I'm like, I don't think they can take that if I tell them, you know, they're asking me a question that they're not ready to handle, you know what I'm saying?
Right, that they wouldn't be ready to hear. Yeah.
No, you know, and then that's going to change their whole thinking about you, you know. So I try to steer away from stuff. It just depends on the people, you know. But I feel I can be honest with you guys, and I try to be honest, you know. I wanted to, you know, let you know where I was, you know, and what I'm doing, and so forth, you know. And you know, people hear those words and that particular drug, and again, that's another stigma on top of the stigma, you know.
do know some things about the pain medication.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm saying. And you have
What they
They're-
are really.
They're very dangerous. What they actually do is dehydrate you, and so it causes all kinds of physical problems. The side effects is just
of pain meds, yeah.
are just
I've had, it's just
Terrible.
weird because I've had, to my knowledge, like the side effects that a lot of people do have. But I do have some things going on, and I wonder about them. Like I get cramps like a motherfucker, man. At
Cramps,
night, when I
yeah.
try to move, fucking bad, and that could be from the dehydration, But I drink a